Welcome to the Grace and Grit podcast, made for women who want their healthiest years to be ahead of them, not behind them. Join your host, Courtney Townley, right now as she breaks down the fairy tale health story you have been chasing all of your life into sensible action steps and lasting change. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Grace and Grit podcast. This is your host, Courtney Townley. As always, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited that you're here, and I'm excited about the episode today. Now, if you're listening to this episode before September 30th, 2020, I want to let you know that the doors to my exclusive membership site are now open for registration. It's called Rumble and Rise. And what Rumble and Rise is a very robust vault of resources, education, and support to help women break free of diets and really embrace self-leadership in the health arena and well beyond. And if you are a fan of the podcast and you have been working to apply the things that you learn on the podcast and would like to kind of take what you're learning here and really run with it, make sure you check this program out. You can go to graceandgrit.com/ready-to-rumble to find out all the juicy details. And I really hope you decide to join me. Now, all month long, we have been leaning into the theme of unrelenting ownership. What does it look like to take unrelenting ownership of your health journey? And this is the final episode in our series. So this is actually the fourth episode in the series. In episode 1, we talked about how to own your worth. And in a nutshell, ladies, your worth is baked into your humanity. You don't need to hustle for it. You don't need to prove it. You certainly don't need to outsource it to other people. In fact, please don't. That's a recipe for disaster and a way to live a very inauthentic life. In episode 2, we talked about how to go about owning what's possible for your future. So we did a deep dive into really kind of redirecting your focus on who you want to be moving forward rather than marinating in who you've been in the past. In episode 3, which was last week, I did an episode titled Owning Your Time, in which I talked a lot about the importance of organizing your time and priorities if you want to consistently show up for yourself. And today, I want to wrap up this conversation by talking about owning your process. And there's a lot of parts to this. I'm going to keep this episode pretty short and sweet today, but there's a few things I want to address. I want to talk about owning your motivation. I want to talk about owning your strategy. And then I want to finish by talking about owning failure and success. So we've got a lot of ground to cover in not too much time. So let's get going, okay? So let's talk about motivation. There's 2 reasons I say you need to own your motivation. The first reason is if you don't like the things that are motivating you to change behavior, health will never be born of that. So what do I mean by that? I mean, you can fool yourself into thinking that you're healthy by fighting your way to a lower number on the scale because really you hate your body and don't think you'll be worthy of love and self-respect until you do. So the motivating factors that are driving you to pursue a lower weight are messed up. And what really sucks about that is then you have to maintain that energy and that mindset to keep the weight off. Or maybe you fool yourself into believing that you're a super selfless person because you say yes to everybody's needs and wants all the time. But you know deep down it's because you don't have the confidence to say what you really want to say or ask for what you really need. You could also maybe really appear super dedicated to your job by working 24/7. But you know that the reason you're doing it is because you're avoiding facing other parts of your life that are falling apart. So this is what I mean by learning how to like your motivation. What is driving you? And the truth is, only you know why you do what you do. And maybe some of you are listening to this thinking, but I don't know why I do what I do. Because you haven't taken the time to get to know yourself in that way. But with a little introspection and a little bit of curiosity, you can get very honest with yourself about what is motivating you. And it is worth learning how to like your reasons, making sure you like the reasons that are driving your behavior, because your reasons massively influence your health. And this, of course, is a lot of the work that I do with my clients, is making sure that they like their reasons and that their motivations are healthy. Because your mental health directly influences your physiology. I've worked with countless clients over the years who've had gut issues, weight challenges, hormonal challenges, and at the root of it, it was all stemming from mental stress. Not only how they were thinking about what was happening in their life, but then what they were doing to try to manage the emotions that thinking was causing. So they were eating their emotions, drinking their emotions, right? All of the things that have net negative consequences. So I'm not saying that diet isn't important and exercise isn't important. Of course it is. They both are tremendously important to your physiological health. But if you don't get your head straight, not only will you not be consistent with those things, but even if you are somehow magically consistent with those things for a while, you won't stay the course with them. Because you haven't really changed your belief system and you haven't really gotten to the root of the true challenges. The other reason I say it's so important to own your motivation is because a lot of us are operating as if in the morning when we wake up, motivation is going to be standing by our bed with a hot cup of coffee and a friendly smile ushering us into a perfectly executed day. And ladies, you know that's not how it happens. Motivation is never or very, very rarely standing by your bedside table. You are responsible for finding motivation, not the other way around. It's not going to find you, or it might once in a great while, kind of like a blue moon. But you have to build a practice of finding motivation every single day. Reminding yourself of your compelling reasons, why you're willing to get a little uncomfortable today, why you're committed to doing the things that you put on your planner. So let's talk about that. What does it mean to own your strategy? Because what a lot of you are putting on your planner is insane, right? So the way you are trying to go about changing behavior in terms of self-care is absurd because your expectations are way too big for what you can actually handle in a day. So let's just say you haven't been exercising at all, and you think it's a good idea to all of a sudden sign up for that 6-day-a-week boot camp, and then wonder why you stop going after just a few days. The brain doesn't like hard. The brain likes simple. Your brain has a lot of work to do in the day. And when you give it a massive thing to focus on, a massive change, it freaks out. It tells you it's a horrible idea, and you shut down. So you have to be sensible in the strategy that you're using. But the other thing that I mean by owning your strategy is take ownership of your strategy. Mentors and teachers and gurus can be amazingly helpful in helping to teach you skills and give you tips for traveling your path in whatever arena they specialize in with less obstacles. However, nobody ever knows your life the way that you do. And teachers and mentors often specifically address one arena of your life. They're not taking into account all the other things in your life. Your health is multifaceted. And while absolutely we can hire people to give us directions, some direction, and help us to develop the skills that we're missing, you have to take into consideration how that advice fits in to the rest of your life. For example, if you run a business or you work a lot and you've got kids at home and you just have a lot of other challenges in your life and you want to improve your health, signing up for a protocol that asks you to remove entire food groups, exercise, 5 or 6 days a week pretty aggressively, and do all these other things is unrealistic. And that's on you. It's not the protocol's problem. It's not the diet's fault or the exercise program's fault. The truth is you are choosing strategies that aren't realistic for the life that you live. And it's costing you health in other areas of your life. And this is one of the many reasons why diets constantly fail. A lot of you are in the habit of outsourcing your strategy, your overall life strategy to others. And then when that strategy doesn't work, you blame the thing, right? And please don't hear me saying that I think all strategies or protocols or diets are created equal. They're not. But still, we have to take ownership of the fact that we chose something that was drastically unsuited for the life that we live. And that's why we struggle. So again, no one knows your life the way you do. You have got to take the reins. Owning your failures. You're going to fail. Along the pursuit to improving any area of your life, along the journey to improving your life as a whole, there are going to be lots of obstacles and challenges and certainly failures. And when those things arise, it is not helpful to you to look for things to blame. Don't blame the job. Don't blame the spouse. Don't blame that super irritating coworker you have. And here's why I say, don't waste your time looking for who to blame. Just take responsibility, take ownership of all of it. Because you can't change people. You can't change a lot of what life will present you with. So when life presents you with something that is different than what you expected, the only question worth asking is, how do I want to show up within this? How do I want to show up within this challenge? Where can I take responsibility here? Great example, COVID, right? Not something you can control. It's a pandemic. It exists. It is here. It is a reality. It's changing the face of our everyday life in so many ways. How do you want to show up within that? Owning success as equally, if not more important, than owning your failures. If you do not own your success, if you do not acknowledge what is going well, you will deflate yourself. You will feel very unmotivated, and you will not stay consistent with anything for very long. I know we are conditioned to look for the flaws, look for the brokenness, look for everything that we could do better. But that way of thinking actually, it completely dampens our process. It makes our effort so much more difficult and not fun. And I don't know about you, but I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my life. And when I'm only focusing on the things that I want to do better, I kind of miss that opportunity for enjoyment and fun. But you know what's really fun is celebrating your wins, acknowledging the awesome things about your life, acknowledging what your body is actually doing well, no matter how it looks or what challenges you are facing. You've got to learn how to celebrate your success, no matter how small. I am telling you, it is so powerful in terms of enabling you to show up again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. The other reason I think it's really important to own your success and acknowledge your wins is because if you're willing to look at how was I thinking in order to create that success? How was I thinking when I worked through that challenge? What was I feeling? What was I doing? It is an awesome tool. Your successes are an awesome tool to get to know yourself and what works for you. And here's the honest to God truth. I've had the incredible opportunity of interviewing people across so many different disciplines of life, people who specialize in all kinds of different fields. And something that I see time and time again that just kind of makes me giggle is they're all teaching the same thing. At the end of the day, they are all teaching to some degree the same thing. If you want to be successful in finances or relationships or your career or with your health, it really boils down to the same stuff. You got to have enough respect to show up for yourself. You've got to organize yourself and come up with smart strategy so you don't overwhelm yourself as you try to lean into that change. You've got to manage your mind and your emotions so you will follow through with those new behaviors on a more regular basis. And when life throws you a curveball, you have to be able to coach yourself back into realignment. And this, my friends, is the work that I do. I do it in the health arena because that is the conversation I love having. But the work that I do with my clients in the health arena spills out into every arena of their life. So, own your process. Take responsibility for all of it. Own your motivation. Own your strategy. Own your failures and own your successes. I am so passionate about this work. Hopefully you know that. I mean, we would not have made it to 215 episodes if I was not passionate about what I did. I have collected so much education and so much experience over the years to help women do these things. And if you are someone who is so ready to be done with the BS, be done with the storylines that aren't serving you, and really get serious about moving your life forward and building your confidence in the health arena, join me inside of Rumble and Rise. Again, if those of you who are listening to this after September 30th of 2020, this program may not be open for registration at that time. But if you're listening to this at the time that we launch it, you have a few days to register. So you can go to graceandgrit.com/ready to rumble. And I really hope that you will accept my invitation and that I will see you on the inside. That's it, my friends. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Grace and Grit podcast. It is time to mend the fabric of the female health story, and it starts with you taking radical responsibility for your own self-care. You are worth the effort, and with a little grace and grit, anything is possible.